Good evening, good evening. Welcome back to Thursday's night. Live it out, Inc. Come on in, you guys. I want you to press like, press share, subscribe to our YouTube page. We're still growing. We're still trying to get the information out. We're still trying to let people know that we are working in the community to help build mental health and wellness. Welcome to Live It Out, Inc. As we go on this journey of healing. Tonight, I am very excited. I am ecstatic about what we got going on tonight. You can tell by my face that I'm so happy for this. We started our mental health journey last week. When you guys tuned in, we was working on what our it is. Before we can go on to this journey, we was working on what our it is. So hopefully you guys have identified what your it was, and you started working on healing that. And so we can now start to put our plan into place. But tonight, since it's February, this is our relationship month. So it's going to be called Relationship Thursday. And I have a powerful sister, a phenomenal sister that is joining me tonight. She's going to tell you about herself, a little bit about what she does. And we're going to talk about all different types of relationships. We're talking about relationships with married couples, not single couples, couples that are not married, dealing with adult children, dealing with family relationships, dealing with friends, co-workers, all of that. So if it's a relationship, we're going to talk about it. But this time we have an expert on it. So again, if you have questions, please put your questions in the comments as we start the broadcast, or we start having our discussion, and I will address some of the questions to Coach Fran, Minister Fran, and we're going to get this thing started. Again, welcome guys to Live It Out. I'm so excited. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Minister Coach Fran.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hello. So what I want you to do is I want you to just introduce yourself to the people and just tell them a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm Minister Frannie Williams. I am a licensed minister. I've been preaching for 3 years. I am also a certified relationship and family coach. I deal with all types of relationships, husband and wife, mother and daughter, any relationship that may be broken and needs some fixing or reconciliation. I deal with it. Also, I have been married for 16 years. It'll be 16 years on February 26th. We have 3 beautiful children. My husband is a pastor. I have a degree in psychology. I am pursuing my Master of Divinity. This is my last year. I have my Master's of Divinity. And so I just really care about fixing relationships. That is a passion of mine. That is something that that is my ministry. That is my ministry to help people get their relationships back on track. So I'm excited
Awesome.
to be here.
Awesome. To do something that you love doing, that's going to help a lot of people. That is
Yeah,
amazing. So
absolutely.
get right into it. One of
Okay.
the first questions that I have is, what is the biggest misunderstanding in relationships? Like, what's the biggest misunderstanding? Like, it's kind of like cross the board.
hmm
Um,
The biggest issue is communication, for sure.
yes.
The biggest issue is communication. And a lot of times you have 2 people who speak 2 different languages and you're trying to communicate with each other. And what a wife or a girlfriend may be trying to communicate to her husband or her fiance or whatever, he may hear something totally different. She could be saying, I need more of your time. I need more affection. And he hears, you messed up again. You
Wow.
suck. You're not doing a good job, right? And so when a man feels that he is not appreciated or he has failed you, he shuts down. So anything you say after that has been lost in translation because of the way he heard it or the way you communicated it. So communication is the biggest issue. And that's something that a lot of people really need to work on just in general. But in relationships, that is the main cause for many relationships to end. It's the communication. It's not infidelity. It's not finances. It's communication.
Wow. So with the communication, is it like, okay, even though that they're able to say I'm able to communicate, but that person's not comprehending what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
we're communicating with each other, but like you said, we're speaking two totally different languages. Like
Right.
if I'm saying something and he hears something else, that means he's not comprehending what I'm saying. So how do
Maybe,
we, you maybe, yes.
maybe, or maybe you're not delivering it correctly, or
Okay.
it could be being delivered in hostility. A lot of times people think because they talk a lot, that means that they're good communicators. That is not true. Because
Okay.
you can talk and communicate, and that doesn't mean that you're communicating effectively, right? So you this is what I do when I'm doing my couples, when I'm coaching my couples. I always tell them when they're talking, I ask their spouse to turn to them and tell them what they heard them say. And every time they heard them say something that they did not say. And
Wow.
that's why I have them do that, because then they're able to see, well, okay, I see. So you heard me say this. This is not what I was saying. Maybe I should use different words, because certain words cause people to shut down, you know, and they don't hear what you're really trying to say. So the effective communication is the key. Effective communication.
Okay, so so this is good. I'm telling you, this is good. So we got to work on how we're communicating, how we're trying to
Yes.
deliver to see if they're understanding it. So when it comes to like being in a relationship, I know that physical touch is we all want to feel that love. So
Mhm.
what kind of physical touch best says that I love you? Like if I wanted to just show you instead of every day, every day people say I love you, I love you. It's saying so much to now it's almost like second nature that you tell the person you
Right.
love them. So when it
Mhm.
comes to the physical touch, and not even down to the sexual part, but just
Mhm.
the physical touch, the tangible touch, to let that person know that hey, I love you, or I'm still into you.
Right. Well, let me say this. People have different love languages, right? So for some people to feel loved, it is physical touch. For some people, it's positive affirmation. For some people, it's gifts. So there's different ways to show love. That people Some people, physical touch is not their main love language. But however, everyone needs affection and everyone needs to feel loved. So, holding hands, that's very intimate. Holding hands, especially when a man holds a woman's hand and kisses her hand, we're talking about chivalry. you know
Yeah,
like that is just, most men, they don't think about that anymore, but old school men, they would grab your hand and kiss you
grab
on the
your hand.
hand and let you know they adore you, right?
Yes,
It didn't
yes.
have to so much be so physical and like that. That's intimate. That's intimacy. So, holding hands, a kiss of the hand, a hug, you know, a gaze into the eyes, just the little simple things can communicate to a person that, I'm here with you. I'm present with you. You matter to me. You're important to me.
Okay, that's good to know. And chivalry is dead because they not holding hands no more. They
Mm-hmm.
not holding hands. They walking in front of each other, and one way
Exactly.
back there and the other one way up there. They doing a whole lot. So what
Exactly.
what are some things that you think that causes a person to pull away in a relationship? Like what makes the person say, "Look, I'm just I'm tired of it. I want out," or not so abruptly want out, but they start to pull away in a
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Not feeling appreciated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not feeling appreciated. Women feel unappreciated, especially if you have children together, and you're doing things in the house, you're cooking, and then the thank yous begin to lessen. Or
Okay.
I did my hair different, or I bought a new dress for you or something, you didn't even notice it. You don't notice the what I'm doing to show you that I love you. It goes unappreciated, right, or unnoticed. And then a man, he may feel like, well, I go to work every day, and I do this and I do that, and you don't tell me thank you, because people get comfortable. People get comfortable in
Yes,
relationships to where things just become, this is just redundant. Like, this is what you do and this is what I do. And the appreciation. And so what happens is Sally Sue and Lucy Lou, or Mike and Tommy, tell you, "Oh, you look good today." And she's thinking, when
yeah,
they told me I look good in 2 months. Oh, I do?
exactly.
you know and then it just like that, it's like, oh, somebody else show me a little attention. Or the man could be, out working, and a woman say, oh, you work so hard. A woman he works with could say, oh, you work so hard for your family, you always here. And he like, my wife never tells me thank
Yeah,
you. I come
yeah.
home, I can't even get a hot meal, I get yelled at. So
I'm, I'm glad you said that. Okay, let me ask you this. When you got that husband that works hard every day, how important is it for that man to come home to a cooked meal? I mean, like, how does that, where is that something that can pull him away too? Like, he working hard, he putting in the work, and I know we work too. Women
that's what I
work
was,
too.
yeah. It
So,
depends on the situation. If the woman is a stay-home mom, or she doesn't work, the husband is the sole provider, absolutely. I feel you should have a nice meal cooked for him. That shows appreciation. Men are not complicated. We make them complicated. There is really simple. Men, they need to feel honored, respected. They need to feel respect, honor, and appreciation.
okay,
Respect, honor, and appreciation. If you can respect, honor, and appreciate him, that's really what men need. That's what they
that's
need. The affection and the intimacy comes along with the appreciation, and that's how they communicate. And so that's very important. So you may have the woman and the man both working, but the little things, just saying, baby, thank you. I know you work 12 hours a day. I appreciate you. I
okay.
appreciate you. I made you a peach cobbler. I made you your favorite peach. I made you my peach cobbler. Just
Yeah,
little things. It's the little things that make a person feel appreciated. You don't have to go all out. You tired. You worked all day. He tired. But just to say thank you, and then when you cook for him to say thank you, baby, for this food, it's awesome. That makes a woman feel good. So
that
yeah,
he appreciates the cooking, the
yeah,
action that you did.
yeah.
Um, one viewer said, "What if that's just not good enough for him?"
So that's where you have to communicate. That's where you have to talk to him and ask him. And this is something that people don't do. They don't say, what do you need from me? What do you
Oh,
need from me? That's so simple. See what I'm saying? The communication is an issue with adults. Kids know how to communicate fine, adults don't. you
yes,
know,
kids are good at
Kids know how
communicating.
to communicate. Adults don't. Somewhere along the way, we pick up this thing called ego, and ego destroys a lot of things. So it's very simple to say, what is it? What is it that you need from me? Are you happy? What is it
So,
that you need from me? There's nothing
so,
wrong with asking that. You need to know, and they need to know from you also. It has to go both ways. So stop trying to figure out what they need and ask them what they
and
need.
just ask.
Just
Wow,
ask.
ask.
They'll
Okay,
appreciate you just asking. That means that you care.
okay. Um, you was talking about the kids, and this is another issue that I know that some people were dealing with, and then it leads on into like other issues as the children grow older. When you don't agree on parenting, the
Mm.
parenting skills on how, because I don't think a lot of couples have that conversation, and even if they bring in kids to the marriage or to the
Mm.
relationship, what happens if you don't agree, if you disagree about the parenting? How does that affect the relationship?
That can affect the relationship. That can lead to divorce, actually, um, or separation. That is definitely a conversation that has to be had before you start a relationship with someone. You have to make sure you are equally yoked with the person that you decide to procreate with. You need to find out, what are your religious beliefs? What are we going to raise our children to believe? How are we going to discipline our children? Are we going to, do the timeout thing? Are we going to spank? What are we going to, how are we going to, discipline our children? You have to make sure that you're on the same page. Now, once you've already gotten into the relationship and you see that you don't agree, there has to be a conversation had. There has to be a conversation and you have to you really have to compromise. You really
Okay.
have to compromise, and you have to explain why this is. I want to deal with our children this way because, and or I don't feel comfortable with you doing that because. Okay, how can we find a common ground? How can we find a common ground? Because these are our children that we
Yeah.
love very much, and we both want the best for them. So what do we? How do we come to a common ground? And what does God's word say? And what does God's word say? Because we want to make sure that we're doing things the right way. We want to raise our children to be, the best that they can be. So we have to be a team to do this. We have to be a team. So how can we get on one page so that we're doing it, for the what's best for our children? Not what we want to do, but what's
Yeah.
best for our children.
Of
Let's
the
take
children.
I and me out of it and make it about the children and not, us or our egos.
Okay, so that raises another, and this ain't even a question I had, but this made me think about when you're trying to blend a family
Mm,
together. That's where you got the stepdad or well, bonus dad, bonus mom, and
mhm,
bonus kids, and all of this stuff
mhm,
right here.
mhm.
And these kids just don't. It does not click. Like it's always, especially when it's teenagers or
Yeah,
adolescent kids,
yeah,
and the rebellion comes
oh
out, and
yeah.
the kids
Mhm,
are just not. They're not there in the relationship. They don't want them there. They don't want to see them. They want to be, and they're doing everything against that relationship to
mhm,
end it. So how do you approach that, or what's ways to deal with that?
mhm. So this is what I'll say. When you enter into a relationship with someone who has children already and you have children, you have to already know, do I love this person enough to take this package deal? Do they love me enough to take this package deal? Because it's going to be some work. And if you're lazy, it's not going to work. You got to be able to roll up your sleeves and you go to work because it's going to be some work when you are coming to a blended family. And the key word when you're dealing with a blended family is patience. You
Patience.
can't expect things to just go right, and you can't just put a time frame like if they don't get it together by I'm out. I can't do it. You can't. You have to be patient and you have to be willing to do the work. Make sure you love that man or that woman's kids before you even enter into that relationship. Love them like your own, because if you love them like they're your own, you will be patient and you will go with the bumps and the bruises and that you come across as you're trying to make it work. You'll be determined to make it work because you already love them. But if you're not willing to go through the work, don't even go through the relationship.
Okay. Because then again, like some people that stick it out for whatever reason, or they hang in there, then the kids grow up and say, "You chose that man over me, or you put that woman before me," and then they have all these adult issues with that relationship because they weren't in it in the beginning when you decided that this is the person that you wanted to be with.
Mhm.
So now you dealing, and this going into another whole relationship with the mother daughter or the son daddy or a parent adult issues that's going on. They'll take it all the way back. Well, you remember when you and so were together, you put him before us and you didn't do us right and he did this and he did that or whatever, and they grew up and they see things and they heard things and they bring it back to you when they get an adult, and then that's a strain on your. Now I'm having this conversation with my adult child,
Mhm.
who has all this animosity build up about something that they felt I done wrong in the
Mhm.
past.
Mhm.
So now how do we start to mend those pieces together? Because I know families that have gone
Mhm.
years and not just dealt with their kids or didn't deal with their parents or had this certain resentment against their parents, and they're not addressing it.
Mhm.
They're just letting it go.
Yeah.
So where do we need the black community to know and mending that family part of the relationship from that past hurt?
Yeah. Listen, the adult children have a right to feel however they want to feel. Whether it be true or not, you have to acknowledge a person's feelings. That doesn't mean that you agree with their feelings. but you have to acknowledge their feelings. And, you know, once they become an adult, you can have a conversation with them. Have a conversation. Tell me, why do you feel that I put them before you? Give me examples. Because
Okay.
a lot of times people just feel the way they feel. And then when you start asking them to explain, crickets. Well,
Crickets.
I just know how you made me feel. Well, tell me, what did I do? Because that was not my intention. Tell me, what did I do? Because I want to understand how you feel. You are entitled to feel how you feel, and I acknowledge your feelings. That doesn't mean you have to agree, but I acknowledge your feelings. Tell me, what did I do? And that's when you go into it, you have a conversation and you get to the bottom of it. And
Okay.
if after your child tells you, you know, you did this, you did that, and you're like, I guess I kind of did do that. I apologize. Will you forgive me? How can we move on from here? And listen, I'm gonna tell you, you can fix so many things by just letting your ego go.
Exactly. I agree.
Just let your ego go. All your ego does is ruin things in your life. It ruins relationships, it ruins your happiness, it ruins your joy. You know, ego is a trick of the enemy. You have to put that ego to the side. And
Yes.
like I said, you don't have to say you did something wrong if you didn't, but you do have to acknowledge how someone may feel. You may not intend to hurt someone. That doesn't mean you didn't,
Exactly.
right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
and and sometimes people, you know, they're a little extra, and they're a little extra. I'm like, you know,
They
you
are.
did this, and you like that did not happen. But listen,
Yeah.
you don't say if you feel hurt, and I'm sorry that you feel hurt. Never say if, because they just told you that they did. Because then you don't consider what they just said when you say if, because they already told you, right? So never do an apology with if I hurt you, because that's not right. So you are hurt. I acknowledge your pain and I apologize. How can we
Okay.
make it right? Because we can't go back and change things. All we can do is go forward. So how
Forward.
can we make it right? Let's not dwell on the past. I'm sorry that you feel the way you feel. How can we go from this point?
And
And if
that'll
they don't want to go forward, all you can do is pray for them and say,
that
I love you, and I'm gonna pray for our relationship. I'm here when you want to talk, and
okay.
I got you.
And we don't kind of jump the gun. We don't jump over to the parent adult child relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Can parents enable their adult children?
Absolutely.
Okay, so how do we know? Well, you know, with people with adult children, how do you know that you're enabling them?
Listen, a lot of times, your adult children can be going through storms, and they could be going through hard times. And as a parent, you want to jump in and save your child. That's still your baby. They may be grown, but that's your baby, right?
Right.
But you could be jumping in and stopping what God's trying to do. God
Okay.
may want them to be in that valley right then. God may want them to be broken down so that he can build them back up.
Build back
Now
up. That's
you
right.
jumped in and intervened and tried to stop what God's doing, and you don't even realize it. So you have to use wisdom when dealing with your adult children, because some storms they got to go through on their own. How they gonna get
Yeah,
strong? And
that's right.
some storms they need to rely on God to get them through it, because they'll never give him honor and praise if you always coming in to save the day.
Exactly. Okay.
So some things, yeah, you help your children, but some things they got to go through on their own. You don't want to enable them, because when you enable them, you prevent them from reaching their full potential when you enable them.
Mm.
And a lot of times when you enable your children, they feel entitled.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
feel
yes.
entitled. They feel entitled to your help. And so every time they get in a bind, they expect you to help them, right? And you
Right.
could help them 99 times. But one time you say
That one.
no, you're a horrible mother. You're a horrible father. I can't believe you would let me struggle. I can't believe you let yourself struggle. You are grown. I raised you to be a responsible adult. The
Yes.
mistakes that you've made, you got to clean that mess up or ask God to help you with it,
Exactly.
because I raised you to do what you're supposed to do. And if I enable you, then I really hinder you. I hinder you by enabling you. So yeah, you have to use wisdom, parents. Use wisdom. And if you really love your children, sometimes you gotta let them grow through what they're going through.
What they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's that's something we're gonna dive deeper into later on in this month. So we're gonna shift gears back to the relationship. But I had to get that out. That was on me. I really had to get that out. I wanted to know. So we're back in this relationship again. Now, when a man or a woman says that they need space,
Mm-hmm.
like I just need some space.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Like, how much time and space do you need to be apart from each other when somebody's telling you that they need space?
Okay, so that depends on the dynamic of the relationship.
Okay.
If you are married, you're not gonna get no space outside of this home. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, sir. Mm-mm. Because when you leave this house, the enemy is gonna hit you in every way possible, tempt you in every way possible. You can't get peace outside of this home. Now you can go to the other room. You have much
Okay.
space to the other room, or you want to go to the basement? You can go to the guest room. You can go to the living room. That's about as much space as you're gonna get, baby, because the way the enemy works, he's crafty, right?
Oh,
And he roams around seeking whom he can devour, and he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he
boy.
can't steal, kill, and destroy this marriage because God has put it together. So I'm gonna let you get your space in the other room, and when you're ready to talk, we can come talk, and we can
Yeah.
pray. Okay, we can go find a counselor. We can call Coach Frannie. Okay. Call
Hey.
Coach Frannie, get some coaching lessons so we can get this marriage back on track. But that's about as much space as you're gonna get, because that's when the woman at work, or that old thing that they had
Yeah.
in the day, all of a sudden you're getting friend requests on Facebook and DMs on Instagram. That's how the enemy works. So no, ma'am, no, sir, no space outside of this home when you're married. Now, when you're dating,
Okay.
on the
Okay.
other hand,
Make sure you clear that up.
we gotta clear this up. Because we're not gonna let the enemy tear apart any marriages that God has put together. We're not gonna do it. Okay, that's not gonna happen. But now, if you're dating or you're engaged, no, we're gonna say dating. Even if you're engaged, you're not married yet. But if you're dating and the person says they need space, you ask them why. Why do you want space? And how much space do you need? What are we accomplishing in the process of this space? Right? So when that agreement becomes broken, you understand that this wasn't really space that they wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there has to be a reason that we are getting space from each other. Are we working on ourselves? And if we are, how? How are we working on ourselves? You going to church? You're gonna go join a new church? You're gonna go fellowship with a new church? What are you doing to better yourself so that we can come back and be better and be whole together, right? Mm-hmm. There has to be a plan of action. Are you still gonna be checking in, like calling and texting me, let me know where you are, what you're doing, so that I'm not, concerned about what you're doing, and vice versa? So there has to be some clear lines of communication about what your intentions are for this separation of this space. Because space is just, a lot of times, space is just another word for I'm ready to go do what I want to do.
I'm ready to go. I want to go do what I want to do. And if it don't work out over there, then I'm going to come back.
Exactly. And we're not going to have that. Not going to have that. So men and women, if your man tells you I need space, men, if your woman says I need space, why? How long? And what are we working on? And what is the goal when we come back?
Yeah, somebody said that I need space is my outie. That's my way out. I need space.
That's usually what it is. That's a nice way to break up. And that's why you ask those questions, so that you see, okay, is this really just them wanting to get it? Because listen, if you don't want to be with me, just tell me. Just tell me. Have enough respect for me, and to just tell me you don't want to be with me. Don't drag me along. Exactly. A lot of times people will drag a person along because they're afraid to break up with them, because maybe they've been through a lot with them and they feel some level of loyalty that they have to maintain because they was with me when I was sick. They were with me when this happened, or when my mother passed, or my sister was sick. I don't
Or
really want I don't want to be with them, but I don't want to hurt them. But you hurt them more by
yeah,
stringing them along. You
yes,
know, you hurt them more by stringing them along. So
yeah.
mhm.
Okay, so that loyalty that some people feel like, and this happened with a lot of guys that go to prison, who that
Mm,
woman that rode with him, and he gets out, he really don't want to be with her, but he
yeah.
said that, I feel a certain loyalty to her
Oh
because she
yeah.
was there for me. But you dragging her and you disrespecting her and you're cheating, you're staying out, you're doing all of this stuff. Just go on.
And let me say this: no one can do anything to you that you don't allow.
Exactly.
You teach people how to treat you by what you allow.
Yes.
So a man can't string a woman along and disrespect her unless she allows herself to be strung along and disrespected. Ask clear-cut questions. You deserve it. You're an adult, and get to the bottom of it. But don't allow anyone to disrespect you, because what you allow them to do, they will do. You
They
must
will
have
do.
boundaries, and you must honor and respect yourself to where you're
Yes.
not willing to just accept anything. You can't just play with me and pick me up when you want to and put me down when you feel like it. That's not going to work.
That's not gonna work. Yes, I love it. I love it. So, with that being said, do you think a one-time adultery would end a relationship?
Woo, woo, we
Like
done went to the approach.
that one time, be it him or her, be it him or her, because we ain't gonna put it all on the brothers, because we got some sisters that do their thing out there too. So,
Ooh,
do you think that one-time adultery would end that relationship? And I know the trust factor is broken. So now you got to deal with that. So you got some more issues that came on with you being in your infidelity for that. We're gonna say one time.
yeah. Yeah. Let me say this. Context is everything. So, and by that I mean the infidelity happened. Were we having issues
Okay.
before? Because see, some infidelity happening, the other person is just blindsided. Like, how did this happen? Why did this happen? You were acting like you loved me, like everything was good, right? So you have that, and then the context of you've been having problems, you haven't been communicating. So that person goes out and they get that communication attention from someone else. Then they realize they messed up and they want to make it work. Okay. Now, divorce hurts God. God hates divorce. However, in the case of infidelity, you know, people can divorce. Now, when you marry someone, you become one. When you really love someone, you can make it through just about anything. So it's really so much a case by case basis. Is it
Okay.
worth it? Has that person done things in the past that have hurt you, and it's like a repeated thing? It may not be infidelity, because it could be disrespect. It could be a lack of appreciation. And by disrespect, I mean coming home late,
Yeah.
not showing me the respect that I deserve. It could be the way you talk to me, things like that. And now this is just a nail in the coffin. Now you have cheated, you have broken our vows, or you have broken our promise to each other. You have dishonored, our love for each other. We may have to end this. However, when you have a family and children involved, it's not that easy. So that's why I say
Easy.
context is important. Because when you have a family and you have children and you have a house, you have, you have a mortgage, you have car notes, and you have properties and different things that you built together, you might think twice about it.
Yeah.
you might think twice about it, and sometimes that love is so strong that you can fight through it. I have coached couples that have dealt with infidelity, and their love is even stronger than it ever was, because now you get down to the bottom of how did this happen, and then you starting to see, oh, I guess I did kind of stop communicating with him. I guess he he stopped, being romantic, and I stopped caring what I look like, and we stopped dating each other, and we stopped, doing the little things that made us fall in love with each other. So now we have to break it down and start back over and begin to get to know each other again, because somehow along the way, you've grown, I've grown, and we're not the same people we were when we fell in love.
Exactly.
And so now we need to learn who we are again, and see if it's worth us figuring this out and learning to know the new you and the new me. And so that this doesn't happen again. And it's been times where people have made it work, and there's never been another issue of infidelity. And then there are people who are serial cheaters. So
Sure, yes.
case by case basis, it depends on the context of the relationship.
Serial cheaters, beware.
There are serial cheaters. And I'm not saying once you cheat, you always cheat, because that's not true. But there are some people who, if you let them disrespect you once, they'll keep doing it.
They'll keep doing it.
Because they think, oh, you love me so much, you're not going nowhere. All I got to do is cry a little bit, drop a little snot, we'll be good.
Yeah, and we'll be good. I mean, guilty. I done dealt with a serial cheater. No, that's I mean, one-on-one. But
yeah. So it's
okay, we know that sex is a beautiful thing from God, within the married couple.
Correct.
So what if your partner wants to experience something that you don't agree with? Like, do I compromise? Well, and I'm just gonna be real with you, Coach Frannie. They know me. They know I'm just 100%. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Your husband comes to you and says, "Hey, I've always wanted to experience a threesome," or he wanted to do something that was, just so out of who you are, and you looking at him like, what you mean? Where you get this from? What you been watching? Who you been talking to? Now, this your husband. We ain't talking about, I'm not talking about just, boyfriend, girlfriend, or we're dating, because them folks, they gonna do what they want to do anyway.
Correct. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Not only do you dishonor God and dishonor your marriage and the vows that you took before God, you have now allowed someone else to have a part of your spouse that belongs to only you.
Yes.
And for your spouse to want to experiment, it's like, am I not enough for you? Now we can spice up the bedroom, but we're not gonna bring somebody else in. That's what we're not gonna do. Because now I have allowed you to, and a lot of times they don't view it as cheating, but it is. You have defiled the bed. It is. And now you're gonna want to do it again and do it again. And then you might start doing it on the side. But either way, just don't even open that door. Now, if you want to spice things up more in your bedroom, and it's within, the two of you, just the two of you, by all means, but that, no ma'am, no sir. Mm-mm.
So that's something because the younger generation, and I don't know, I just know the millennial. Well, I'm not gonna even just say millennials. You can say the younger generation. That's like the big thing for them. Like that's just what we do. My girlfriend got a girlfriend and all this and that, and I'm like,
it never works.
And it never works.
It never works.
When I keep telling them, that man gets to the point where he no longer respects you as his woman or his girlfriend.
There's no honor.
It's like one of them harlots in the street.
That's
You're doing the same thing they're doing. Now, a lot of times they may just test you to see how a man would test you to see how far he can go, where he can get away. It's like kids. They if you don't give them no boundaries, they're gonna try to test the waters either way it goes.
That's true. Now, but a man knows if he can even approach you with that type of question.
Exactly. Hello.
So what have you done or not done, or lack of respect for yourself, to make that man even think he can approach you with that question? Because men know what they can approach you with and what they can't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They know you. They know what you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They know those boundaries. But more importantly, if that man even has that desire, you probably don't need to be with him.
No.
He for the street. He for the streets. The kids say he for the streets. He for the streets. Let the streets
And I
have
ain't
it.
got time,
That
baby.
ain't a
I
man
already
that you want. That's not a man that you want. You know what I mean? You want a man
said,
that's honored and respected at the gates. People know who your husband is, and they
yeah,
respect him because he's a hard worker. He takes care of his children. He takes in the kids in the neighborhood and make sure that they have a father figure. Teach them how to play football. Teach them how to play basketball. You know what I'm saying? He helps build up the community. He ain't out here in the streets.
exactly. And
Okay, trying to do what everybody else is doing. He sets himself apart. A good man sets himself
come,
apart,
come
and he
on.
leads his family as such. So you don't want a man for the streets. If he want to go sleep with Lucy Lou and bring her in the bed, he can go get in her bed with her. Because 9 times out of 10, she gonna be in bed with Tyreek the next day, and whoever else. So if you want to live that life, go live it. But that's not what you want. You can't build something powerful. You can't build a legacy with somebody who wants to be bringing in other people. That's dishonor.
Yeah.
That's dishonorable.
Just disgusting and nasty to me, I'm just gonna say it like this. Dishonor God and you
Yeah,
dishonor yourself. Because
absolutely.
you better feel like a queen and demand to be treated like one.
That's right. Right.
Waiting on your Boaz.
That's right.
So
That's right.
what was I gonna say? Okay, so with that, do you think it's okay for when you're in a relationship, um, for the couples or the man and the woman to have platonic friends? Now, no intimacy like a man, he just got friends that are women that he known or he grew up with, or I'm not gonna even do the work stuff because that work stuff don't work either. No, I don't want to hear that. That's my work. That's my work
Mhm.
sister. That's my
Right.
work now. But I'm just talking
Right.
about lifelong friends. And I got to give a shout out to my homeboy Kurt because, well, not even him, his wife, because she embraces us. It's a couple of us that grew up together, and we're still very close today. And we can call Kurt on his phone and talk to him about whatever we want to talk to. And his wife, she embraces us. She's like, I hope everything work out for you guys, whatever you're going through. And I think it's just so amazing that the secure that she has in him. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
using him because he know he my brother. But she uses him, and Tracy is one of our other friends that she know who I'm talking about, Kurt. But is it possible for men to just really have platonic friends and it not be anything with that?
So this is a twofold answer.
Okay.
I feel that if the I feel it is possible, yes. If your spouse is also friends with your friend of the opposite gender.
Okay. And okay, and that's
Like
exactly that's ended.
friends.
Yes.
Like you can also call up his wife if you want to and talk to her. And you can
Yes.
come by and y'all all have a good time like a family. That's
Yes.
possible. Now the other part of this is, yeah, you can have a friend of the opposite gender. However, the thing about that, this is where it gets, if that friend, you are physically attracted to that friend, that's
Something
another
like
that's another topic, because your best friend is 9 times out of 10 the person you're going to talk to if you're having problems. Now, shouldn't be that way, but that's how it usually is. And that person been knowing you longer than the person you're married with. They know you inside and out. They love you. They think you're a beautiful person. Then they start to feel, oh, he's not treating her right. She deserves better than this.
yeah.
And that shoulder to lean on becomes
Becomes that
something else. Okay. So, with that being said, yes, you can have a friend if they're also friends with your spouse. Like my husband has a best friend who is also, I claim him as my best friend also.
Mhm.
He's like my brother, but he's my husband's best friend. But like he's both of our friends. Like I can call him sometimes. My husband calls him. He supports both of us. He lives in a different state, but he's my husband's best friend. But he's also, I consider him one of my best friends also,
Oh,
but I view him like a brother. So there's no, I don't even see him in an attractive manner. Not that he's not an attractive person, but like I literally see him like he's my brother. Like he's
So
my
that's
brother.
the yeah, and then that's the big difference, and you have to be adults about that. If you're attracted to that friend, that your friend husband or whatever, then you know you don't need to be in their space like that. Period.
Right.
So I agree with that. But I
Yeah.
do now, like me, I'm a person that never meets a stranger, and I talk to a lot of people, and I
Yeah.
know a
Sure.
lot of dudes. Is it possible to be friends with your ex?
No.
Like, it's not possible to be friends with
No.
your ex.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Because
Okay.
because eventually you're gonna have a moment where you're sad, where you're depressed, are you having relationship issues, or you're lonely, and then you start talking about where y'all went wrong
Uh,
and the regrets that you had and how he hasn't made anybody like you.
yeah.
And this isn't working with her because she's not you. And next thing you know, no. That's
It's kind
dangerous
of
water.
tricky,
I
real
wouldn't.
dangerous. But again, I asked that question because one of my best friends, we knew trying to date, when we tried to date, it just was not, it didn't work. The dating, it just didn't work. It just, ew, it was so no. It was literally like heaven saying, no, get
Yeah.
out of there.
Okay.
But as friends, we are, I mean, like, he is just really my but understand too, people on the feed, that I am single. So, and he even said to me, whenever you find, whenever your husband finds you, or you get a man, he's not gonna agree with you being my friend like this, because
Mhm.
men are territorial, and if he
Yeah.
don't know me, he's not gonna rock with it like that. So he said, just know that. So, and even with him having his girlfriend, like I tell him, I'm willing to meet your girlfriend because you are my friend. I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah.
I don't want you. I don't want you in no shape, form, or way. But
Yeah.
I can call this dude. Even when I was moving, I just called him and say, "Hey, I'm moving. I need some help." He said, "When I get off work, I'll come help you." And
Hmm.
he even brought his girlfriend over there with him. I'm cool with that. I need some help moving.
If
So
if there was a history of sexual intimacy, now if there wasn't, then it's no big deal. However, if there was a history of sexual intimacy and you get into a new relationship, there is no way that your significant other is going to be okay with you being
exactly.
friends with someone that you were sexually intimate with. Now, this was just a friend. Y'all went on a few dates and it didn't work out. Y'all decided, let's be friends. And you found out we got more common as friends than we would, actually being in a relationship. That's fine. But if you've been intimate with that person, the person you are with is not going to be comfortable with that. Even if, y'all were
Okay.
intimate and it didn't work out. Now, if you're single, by all means, be friends with them. But just know when you get into a new relationship, he's going to know, who is that guy? Did you ever date him? And then you have to tell the truth. And
Yeah.
then you have to see how they respond to it, what they're comfortable with. And ask yourself this: would you be okay if he was best friends with someone he was intimate with?
Exactly. It works
Now,
both ways.
it
Yeah.
goes both ways. If you would be uncomfortable with her coming around
Yeah.
and
No.
bringing him lunch, you say your friend come move your furniture, she come bring him lunch at work, that's his friend. If you okay with it, it's all good. But if that would be a problem for you, then that would be a problem for him. That's how a lot of times, if you just ask yourself, would I be okay with this? And you can answer the question for yourself, like, I wouldn't be okay with that. So let me be respectful of them.
Exactly. 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 Okay. So
I saw, I
some of
think her name was Regina. She said her husband is her best friend. My husband
yeah.
is my best friend also. Like, I talk to my husband about everything. And the most hurtful words that I could speak to my husband is, you're not being a good friend right now. That
Oh.
that is the most hurtful words that I could speak to him, because he cherishes our friendship, and that's the foundation of our love, was our friendship. and our love for God. And we had a friendship first. So that friendship is what blossomed into what we have now. So if I tell him you're not being a good friend right now, that will make him just, oh, let me turn everything off, stop everything, baby, let's talk. What's
Yeah.
going on? Because that's how friendship is. So when we call somebody else that we're not in a relationship with our best friend that's of the opposite gender, if you're talking to them like that, that might make your significant other a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I agree. I agree. This marriage stuff is some work. This well,
It is.
relationship stuff is some work, and
All relationships.
both parties have to be willing to put in the work. This was so awesome, and I'm not done. So we're gonna have to have you back. We're gonna have
Absolutely.
because we're gonna do one on family relationships, like the mother daughter, the
I would
sibling,
love.
the
Mm,
adult children, and the parent and
I would.
stuff like that. So you guys, y'all stay tuned. Minister Coach Frannie Williams, you have been awesome. I
Thank
am
you.
so
And
honored.
thank you
Honored.
so much for having me. And you can find me on Instagram at Coach Frannie. And like I said, it's really my ministry to help people in relationships and to help reconcile relationships. And I really love, to help fix relationships that have been broken, be it marriage or, a mother and daughter that just can't see eye to eye. And that's very common. There's a lot of
Yes,
pain. There's a lot of pain. And like you said, relationships are work. You may have a best friend that you haven't spoken to in 10 years, but you miss them and you love them and you don't know what to do or how to possibly even reach out to them. That though that exists. And people try to act like those relationships aren't important, but they are.
they
Because
are.
a disconnect with God or a disconnect from your mother or your father, it affects all your relationships.
Yes, yes.
It all works together. So we want to build healthy relationships and fix relationships that need to be fixed.
So again, there you have it, guys. At Coach Frannie on Instagram. All right,
Yes.
I think that's it. That Live It Out put up. So you guys, y'all go follow her. I am definitely gonna follow you as soon as I get off of this feed.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
I
have
enjoyed myself. Have me back anytime. I'd love to.
all right. So we just gonna throw up this L for Live It Out. This L means Live It Out Inc. You guys, I love you. See you guys next Thursday. Be blessed. Let's start this healing process. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you, Coach Frannie,
You're
Minister
welcome.
Frannie.
Thank you.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye.